Welcome to Sisterhood Check-In. I'm your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and it is Friday. Woo! I am excited that you guys are yet joining me again here on another Friday. I don't take it for granted for each and every time that you guys spend Fridays with me. I'm telling you, I'm excited. I look forward to, believe it or not, every Friday because there's always something that I always want to share with you guys. And this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month and also Breast Cancer Awareness. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some things regarding domestic violence awareness, some things that I have available for you, for those of you that either are going through or know somebody that's going through domestic violence. But before we get into all that, if you are watching me on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. If you are watching us on Instagram, make sure you hit like and share if you're blessed by the content that you're receiving. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you click like and share it with somebody that you know that can benefit from today's broadcast. So we're going to go ahead and play this quick video, get you guys all warmed up. I hope you guys had an amazing week, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Make sure you call up your girlfriends and tell them Sisterhood Check-In is on the air. I'll be right back after this.
Sometimes it's not enough to be reminded that Jesus hasn't left you or forgotten you. We need to declare it over ourselves, over others. No matter the season you may find yourself in, no matter the depths of darkness you're wading through, you can join him in declaring the truth. That God is light upon your feet, whether or not you can see the next step. That God is your strength, even though the weight of life seems to be crushing you down. And that when your job, your marriage, your relationship, your health feels like it's coming to a dead end, there is only one God that can make dead things live again. These are his promises, and they're the only thing you need to declare over your life. So as you step into this next season or this next moment, you can declare that God's not done with you. He's just getting started. You can declare that the good work that he has started in you, he will surely complete it. You can declare that the same God that parted the seas goes before you, goes behind you. You can declare these promises over your life, over your family's life, over the people passing on the street. You can declare these truths over every circumstance, over every season of your life. You can declare that every day belongs to him and every new breath belongs to him. Because we have the power of a living God living inside of us. And this is our declaration.
All right, and we are back here on Sisterhood Check-In. Thank you so much for all of you that are here joining me on Sisterhood Check-In all across all the social media platforms. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited because this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm really excited to be able to kind of go over some things that God has shown me. And I just want you to know, if you are a woman that is dealing with domestic violence, or you know somebody that is dealing with domestic violence, I'm going to place a number at the bottom of the screen, and I want you to call that number. You can actually call them. You can call them directly. They also have a chat so that you can also You can also be able to chat with somebody as far as like, getting help or assistance where you are. My thing is just don't sit and do anything. If you're in a situation and it's pretty bad, make sure that you find somebody, you make sure you have a support team that can help you. Even if you feel like you do and you don't want to talk about it and you don't feel like your support system or the people that are around you are capable of helping you because of you're either fearful or there could be all kinds of stuff going on, I want you to call the domestic violence hotline. And if you can't call that line, if you don't have access to a phone, please tell someone, whether whether it's your close friend or whether it's somebody that you don't know. Make sure you reach out and let somebody know what's going on so that you can develop a plan and a strategy to exit that relationship. And let me tell y'all, the ones that do know somebody, if you know somebody that's in a domestic violence situation in a circumstance, if you cannot help them, I encourage you to just make sure you connect them with somebody that can. Don't say that you're going to help somebody or help them, and then what happens is they depend on your help, and then you wind up getting them or someone else or yourself getting yourself hurt because you either felt like you didn't take it seriously or you didn't think it was, that big of a deal. Don't put their lives at risk if you are not fully capable of stepping in and being that support system. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. And I'm putting the information at the bottom of the screen also, so you will be able to see exactly if you're dealing with it, you'll be able to, call that number. For those of you that don't have a support system and you need somebody to help you develop a game plan, make sure you call the domestic violence hotline. And for those, I want to also address that it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So for those of you that are survivors of breast cancer, I tip my hat off to you. I thank God that you're still here, and don't be afraid to, if God has healed you and you're in that position where God has saved your life and you are in remission, don't be afraid to testify to somebody else and let them know. And if you want to be a guest here on the Sisterhood Check-In broadcast and you want to share your testimony with my live audience, we would love to have you. All righty. Now that we got that out of the way, today we are going to talk about a topic. And it's funny because I didn't really know what I was going to talk about today. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. What was I going to talk about? I was still kind of like debating what I was going to talk about. And as I was laying down in my bed last night, and I'm usually up pretty late, doing work and doing different things. And I opened up my Bible. And when I opened up my Bible, the first thing that came to me, I was reading something and boom, Genesis 19 come up. Well, actually, before Genesis 19, I was reading in Luke, and it was talking about, and we'll go over the scripture. It was talking about what that's just like it was in the days of Noah, and then it was saying, "Remember Lot's wife." And as I was reading that, and I'm thinking, Lot's wife. Why would he say, "Remember Lot's wife"? So I had to go, and I was like, let me go search. And even though I had already knew the story of what happened in with Lot's wife, I wanted to kind of go back and kind of reflect and see what is it that I may have missed in the story about Lot's wife, in the story about Sodom and Gomorrah and what happened to Lot's wife. I just wanted to kind of go back and just see, because I've read the story. I knew the story, for a while. But I wanted to go back and study it for myself to see exactly what it is that God wanted to really show me in that particular passage. So we're going to go ahead and go to Luke. Let me put it in the chat so you guys can know. We're going to go to Luke 17. I thought I put it in here, right? So we're going to go to Luke 17 and then we'll pull it up so we'll know exactly. Hold on one second. I thought I had all my scriptures and everything up here, but I work in the daytime. I'm doing different things, and sometimes I just get caught up and forget, right? Because it's amazing. It takes a lot of work to put on an hour broadcast. You would think you just get on here and just go, but the production that goes into creating a podcast is quite tedious. And, especially if you want to present yourself a certain way, sometimes it can take a while. So let's go in here and let's look at Luke 17, right? Luke chapter 17. Let me pull up. I'm going to read it from the Amplified version so that you can hear it as plainly as possible. I normally do, when I do my Bible studies, I do like to read in King James, but this Amplified version has been really, I'm telling you, it has been something. So in Luke chapter 17, right, let's look at let's see. Let's look at verse 22, right? Luke chapter 17, verse 22 says, "Then he said to the disciples, the time will come when you will long to see even one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. They will say to you, look, the Messiah is there, or look, he is here. Do not go away to seek him, and do not run after them. For just like the lightning, when it flashes out of one part of the sky, gives light to the other part of the sky, so visible will the Son of Man be in his day." Meaning you're not going to have to be fleeing to a particular country or stay. Oh, I got to go over here because he's going to be over here. Trust me, when he is made known, you will know. You won't have to go anywhere. It will be made known, right? Trust. It says, but first he must suffer many things and be repudiated and rejected and considered unfit to be the Messiah by this unbelieving generation. And just as it was in the days of Noah, and the people were eating and drinking, and they were marrying, and they were being given in marriage, and they were indifferent to God until the day that Noah went into the ark, and the floods came and destroyed them all. And for some of you that have known the story of Noah, God told him to build an ark. He built an ark, and it never rained before Noah. It never rained. God was watering the plants in the earth, right? It never rained. But here it is. When Noah was preparing the ark, right? Preparing the ark for him and his family, they laughed at him. They were living their lives, how we say, living our best lives. They were doing whatever they wanted to do. And they kind of was like laughing at Noah. They probably was looking at him like, you're crazy, because it had never rained before. So here Noah is coming up here doing something that he had never done before. And they looking at him like, man, you must be crazy. You are an extremist. You're a conspiracist, right? Conspiracy theorist. What is it? Conspiracist, whatever. And so they probably thinking like, oh, you're just doing the most. That's not really necessary. There's no way that it's going to rain. What is he doing building? Now, mind you, he's building a boat on land, and he's looking like, but he knew that God had given him instructions to be able to build this boat. And yet everybody that was around him was looking at him like he was crazy, right? Until the time, like the scripture says in Luke 17, until the day, right, that they went into the ark, right? And this is in verse 27, until the day that Noah went into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. So they didn't realize, they realized after the flood came, oh my gosh, this is real. Everything that Lot was doing, now they begin to realize, oh my God, this is real, right? And verse 28, it was the same as it was in the days of Lot. People were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building, carrying on business as usual without regard for their sins. But on the very day that Lot left Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone, which is burning sulfur, right, from heaven, and destroyed them all. It will be just the same on the day of the Son of Man, the day that the Son of Man is revealed. And on that day, whoever is on the housetop with his belongings in the house must not come down and go inside to take them out. And likewise, whoever is in the field must not turn back. Remember what happened to Lot's wife when she looked back. Remember what happened to Lot's wife when she looked back. Whosoever seeks to save his life will eventually lose it through death. And whosoever loses his life in this world will keep it from the consequences of sin and separation from God. And there's so much more to unpack in the remaining part of that verse. But for the purposes of this broadcast, we're going to talk about remembering Lot's wife, the danger of looking back. Remembering Lot's wife and the danger of looking back. Now, here it is. As I was mentioning what Jesus was saying in the parable he was giving about what was happening. And so like how it was in the days of Noah, it's going to be the same way when the Son of Man is revealed. I'm going to go back and show you, since we're talking about Lot's wife, let's look at in Genesis 19, and let's go back and let's figure out what happened in Genesis 19. I'm going to set the precedence for this conversation, because some of you may have not even read Genesis 19 when it talks about Sodom and Gomorrah. All we know is we may have heard it, if you're in church, or you might have been in a Bible study where they talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So here in Genesis 19, we're going to read it. It was in the evening, verse 1, when the two angels came to Sodom, and Lot was sitting at Sodom's city gate. Seeing them, Lot got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. So here, these two angels come into Sodom, and Lot recognizes, wait a minute, hold on. He recognized that these were angels, right? And he began to bow down his face to the ground. And he said, "See here, my lords, please turn aside and come into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may get up early and go on your way." But they said, "No, we shall spend the night in the open plaza of the city." Wow, right? However, Lot strongly urged them so that they turn aside and enter his house, and he prepared a feast for them with wine and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. So here it is, Lot's urging them, and I can almost hear the conversation that Lot was having, like, I know you say you want to sleep in the city, but bro, man, you don't want to do that. You don't want to sleep in the city. If you knew what was going on in the city, you wouldn't want to sleep in the city. So yeah, if I was you, I would stay right here, because there's some stuff going on in the city, bro. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be in the city at this time. So he urged them to stay, and he began to cook a feast for them. And then it says they ate, right? But before they laid down to sleep, the men of the city, now here it is, it ain't even been a whole day. It ain't even been a whole day, y'all. Says the men of the city, both young and old, surrounded the house. Now, you know that is just straight wicked. When people, old and young, ready to bust in your door because they want to know who is in your house. They can tell that somebody was there. And I don't know if it was because of the beauty of their countenance or what, right? But they were eager to bust open Lot's door. It says, all the men from every quarter. So you're talking about not just one or two men. It says all the men from every quarter. They called out to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to your house?" Pretty much. Where these men at? Bring them out to us so that we may know them, meaning that so they can sleep with them. That's what it meant. They wanted to have sex with them. You got to be in a wicked town where, and I don't know, I may not probably should say that because I know this is streaming on YouTube and they're really particular about certain words. So scratch that out. We're going to say they had bananas. We're going to say they had bananas. Okay. So here it is. They're ready to bust open, right? Bust open Lot's door because they want to have bananas with the angels, right? They were that, you got to be some sort of wicked to the point to where all the men from everywhere in the city, young and old, they want to bust your bananas open. Like, what the heck, right? That got to be crazy wicked, right? So here it says they were like, look, they yelling at the door, like, look, we want to know, we seen them men come to your house. We want to know. We want to have sex with them. They're making it claim. We want to have bananas. I'm sorry. We want to have bananas with these men, right? So here it is. These men, the Sodom and Gomorrah was filled with homosexuality, and people were. I mean, these men were like determined. We want those men. We want to have bananas with them. Bring them out to us so that we can have bananas with them. But Lot went out of the doorway to the men and shut the door after him. In other words, Lot trying to plead with them like, yo, like, come on now. Like this is a bit much, right? And he said, please, my brothers, do not do something so wicked. Do not do something so wicked. See here, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man intimately. Please let me bring them out to you instead. In other words, they was in heat so bad that they wanted to. He said, look, I bring my virgin daughters out here. If you burning that bad, let me bring my daughters. They have not known a man. At least you can have, if you gotta, have bananas, at least have bananas with my daughters there. Don't come after them, because Lot already knew after being in that town, it was wicked. They were doing all sorts of things, right? And he says, and then you can do with them as you please. Now Lot, we gonna have to have a conversation about that, because it's one thing to offer your daughters up to have bananas with these people. It's another thing to say, do what you want with them. It's like, if I was Lot's daughter, I would have been like, excuse me, dad, like, excuse me. Like, he said, you could do what you want to do with them, right? Just don't do anything to these men, because they have fat come under the shelter of my roof for my protection. In other words, he like, look, they are here and I'm going to protect them. Don't do this. But they told him, get out the way. That's how they were so belligerent. They told him to get out of the way. And they said, this man Lot came as an outsider to live here temporarily. In other words, here it is. Came right to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Because we know what happened, for those of you that know the story, when Abraham told Lot to pick where you wanted to go, and then he went. He said, "Hey, you don't came here. You don't came here living here temporary, and you think you're gonna be judging us, right?" Isn't that sort of like how it is now when you tell people, when you try to stand for anything biblically sound or biblically correct, then you begin to get attacked, and people look at you and they think you are the conspiracy theorist when you begin to stand on the word. And it's funny, because when you think about what the Bible says in the last days, men are not going to endure sound doctrine, but they're going to heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears. And it's sort of like how it is today. It's like when people come to us with truth, it don't matter if you say it softly. It don't matter if you say it in love, with the emotional aspect of love, because everybody, just because you're not, soft with it doesn't mean that it's not love. It just seems like no matter what you try to do to try to share people the truth of God's word, they look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like, something wrong with you, right? So here it is. Lot is like, they like, look, you done came here to live temporarily and you acting like a judge. Now, because of that, we're going to treat you worse than your visitors. In other words, they like, you over here trying to tell us how we living, and you over here living, and we about to come after you for real. We're going to not only come after the people that we came in, we're going to come for you too. Right. And they didn't just say it, they did it. They rushed forward and pressed violently, like they were determined to break down this man's door. And it says, and came close to breaking down the door of his house. It says, but the angels reached out with their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness. So in other words, after they pulled Lot in the house, they began to struck the men because they wouldn't stop. And it's something about when you are like a dog in heat and you have got to have bananas with somebody. So much so, could you imagine that? You sitting there in your house and somebody like, I'm determined to have bananas with you and I'm going to bust your door down to get it. That's some violence. We think that's some crazy stuff. Right? When people break down your door because they want your cookies and they want your cookies and milk, and they will break down the door to get it. That's crazy, right? So then it says they struck them, right, with blindness from the young to the old. Now here you got young men, you got young and old men. That's just nasty. They begin to they just don't care. We want to break down the door, right? Young and old, they exhausted themselves trying to find that door. They was determined, we're going to find them men. We're going to find them. That is a level of wickedness that I can't even imagine. And it says the two angels asked Lot, have you any others here in Sodom, a son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, whomever you have in this city, take them out of here. For we are destroying this place because of the outcry for judgment against them has grown so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy and ruin it. So here it is, these two angels telling Lot, like, look, if you got any family, if you got anybody else besides you, your wife and your daughters, y'all need to get up out of here, right? Because the Lord has sent me to destroy this city, right? And it's crazy because when you think about it, right, it's like, dang, like here it is, there's so much, there's been, according to what the angels were saying, there was a cry. So here Lot and his family, and maybe, Abraham was not too far off, right? They all praying, right? Because they knew what was happening in that city, right? And here it is, God is get ready to bring judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah because of their wickedness, right? So this kind of like, here it is, they don't even care at this point. You can tell the lasciviousness was just off the chain. They didn't even care. It's bad when you got to come after angels. When you wicked when you can't even see that this person is an angel and you ready to rip them apart. Like, could you imagine the amount of rage that was stirring up on the inside of them to make them feel like they want to they literally want to, and they are blatant with it. They're not even hiding it. Look, this is what we want to do. So the angels of the Lord said, look, get out of here, because God's going to destroy this land. So Lot went and spoke to his son-in-laws. They were betrothed to his daughter, right? And betrothed mean you were legally promised, right? In other words, it's not like it is today where you say we're engaged. It was this form of engagement was already pretty much sealed. You basically married without the ceremony. When you were betrothed back then, it was set in stone. You were practically married, right? Legally, you were legally promised to that family, right? And so he went and told his son-in-laws that was going to marry his daughters. He said, look, let's get up out of this place. The Lord's about to destroy the city. But the son-in-law, they thought he was joking. They didn't take it seriously, right? So when the morning came, the angels urged Lot to, look, hurry up, get up, take your wife and your daughters that are here. Everybody that's here, because their husbands or soon to be husbands were thinking they were joking. They had gotten so accustomed to that lifestyle, living the way they were. They felt like, oh, ain't nobody coming, right? So they stayed. So the angels told them, look, take who's here, your wife and your daughters, and go, or you'll be swept away with the rest of them, right? But Lot hesitated and lingered. Because here you can imagine Lot trying to figure out, like, oh my God, like, is this really happening? Like, trying to figure out. And it's like in the midst of him trying to figure it out, what happened? The men took hold of his hand and his wife and the hands of his daughters, because the Lord was merciful to him for Abraham's sake. You got Abraham, you got your brother over here praying for you guys, because God had already revealed that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham asked them, pray for his brothers, pray for his brother and his family. And because of Abraham's prayer, God did not destroy Lot and his family, right? Because of Abraham. How many of you have lived a reckless life and you had a praying sister, a praying aunt, a praying mother, a praying father that have been going before the throne of God to say, look, God, whatever you do, whatever town they're in, don't destroy them, right? It's amazing because of recently with the hurricane that happened in Florida, how many believers were praying, right? And asking God to shift in the direction of the wind, and asking God to have mercy and to not destroy the surrounding cities. And can you imagine how many people that are living in different parts of Florida who are wicked, who don't care nothing about God, and who houses were saved and they don't even realize it? It's because of the praying saints. It's because people have been praying for the wind to shift. Some of you are still living today because of the prayers of your family, because of the prayers of your siblings, because of the prayers of your parents, because of the prayers of your pastor, because of the prayers of your children. You live in life like you don't even realize that God has not caused you to suffer, right? Because of somebody that's interceding and praying for you. You don't understand how powerful that really is. So here he's telling them, look, let me snatch them, right? Let me snatch them out because of here it is. The angels is like, we're gonna save you because God is, I'm not destroying, I'm not gonna allow you to be destroyed with this city. Right? And it says the Lord was merciful to him for Abraham's sake, and they brought him out and left him outside the city with his family. In other words, they snatched him and brought them out of the city, right? And then when he got them out of the city, right, he said, he told the angels told him to run, escape for your life, and don't look back, don't stop anywhere in the entire valley. Escaped, he told him to flee to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away, because they didn't know how far the destruction was going to go. So he told him, look, don't look back. Told Lot and his family, don't look back. Don't even stop anywhere. Don't stop anywhere in the valley. Just keep going. Run for your life, because if not, based on how bad the catastrophe can be, the effect, you can be an innocent bystander and get swept away as a result of it. So he told them to flee to the mountains, go as far as you can, right? But Lot said to them, oh, no, not that place. Meaning like, no, I don't want to go there, Lord. You have magnified your loving kindness towards me by saving my life. I can't escape to the mountains, because he was concerned that the disaster will overtake him and that he would be killed. So what he did was he asked the Lord, right? He asked the angels if he can go, right, to another place. He said, let him escape, right, to a town, right, that was nearby, right? And it only had a few people in it. He told him, let me go there so that my life will be saved. And the angel of the Lord said to him, go ahead. I'll go ahead and grant you that request. He said, I will not destroy this town of which you've spoken of. Hurry and take refuge. In other words, this is a sense of urgency. Don't drag your feet with this. He said, because I can't do anything to punish Sodom until you arrive there. In other words, I'm holding back the wrath that God has instructed me to bring to Sodom and Gomorrah, but I can't do anything until you leave the city. So hurry up and get there, because when you leave, I'm finna let it loose. And some of you don't even realize that the reason why God is holding back his wrath in the city, in the town, in where you live at, is because somebody is praying. Somebody is praying, right? Praying and because God is making sure that his people. So when I think about certain cities and I'm like, okay, God, you're not going to destroy this particular city because you got too many folks over here praying, right? You got folks over here praying and they trust in God, and you're not going to let anything happen to that city because of your believers that you have there, right? And I even believe even the people that had to evacuate, I believe that the Lord can hold back a storm until you get out of that place, until you evacuate before the storm can overtake your city. I just believe God like that, right? So here it is, Lot, right? Had literally he had pretty much, it said the sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zoar. And then the Lord rained down brimstone, flaming sulfur, and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah, and from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew, which means he demolished and ended those cities in the entire valley, and all the inhabitants of the city and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife from behind him foolishly, it says she foolishly and longingly, which means she didn't just stop. She stopped to reflect on what she would be losing as a result, what she would be missing as a result of leaving this particular city. She didn't take it seriously. She thought by looking back, she was still good. But here, God had given specific instructions, right? Given specific instructions not to look back. Don't take no thought about what's going on over here in the city. Here she is. She's taken back. Ain't no telling what was going on in her heart. I don't know. Maybe she was missing. Maybe she was thinking about everything that she was leaving and how it was, which I don't understand. If the city was wicked, what can you possibly be missing, right? But her turning back caused her to turn into a pillar of salt because she disobeyed. Here, everybody else, when he said, don't stop, right? Keep going, keep running, run for your life. So if you're running for your life, you're looking forward. You're not looking backwards because you don't know what's behind you, right? So the angel said, look, and that was like terrifying when I read that. And I thought, oh my gosh, he said, keep going. Run. Don't look at don't stop nowhere. He told him, don't stop nowhere in the valley, right? Don't stop anywhere. And here Lot's wife stops, turns around, and she begins to longingly. The Bible says she turned around foolishly and longingly and looked back toward Sodom in an act of disobedience. And she became a pillar of salt. And then it says in verse 27, right? Abraham started out early the next morning to the place where he on only the day before had stood before the Lord. And he looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah, towards the land of the valley of the Dead Sea. And he saw, behold, the smoke, the land went up like a smoke of kiln, which is like a pottery furnace, right? And here it is. Here it is that now when God ravaged and destroyed the cities in the plain of Siddim, he remembered Abram, and for that reason he sent Abraham's nephew Lot out of the midst of the destruction when he destroyed the cities in which Lot had lived. So Lot, all the cities that Lot had lived in, God destroyed the cities because of the perverseness and because of the disobedience, the heavily disobedience and the perverseness in that particular city. And God literally destroyed that city and the inhabitants that were in it. So if you did not leave with Lot, everything, every man, boy, child, every woman, child, everybody died as a result of being a part of that wicked city. And when I started to think about this, I started to realize that it is important when God instructs you and he tells you to leave a particular city and he tells you to leave a particular relationship, or he may tell you to leave a particular, leave a job, right? Or he may tell you to leave the country. You better know that if God tells you to do something, you better obey. Because notice, right? She suffered, right? And everybody didn't suffer. They got out, right? Because they obeyed the voice of God. But because she refused to obey the voice of God, she was turned into a pillar of salt. And I wanted to kind of take this time and show y'all, right? Let me show y'all something, right? I was looking at a documentary and this thing blessed me so much. And I just want to show you just a few, maybe like just a few minutes of what I saw so that you can get a visual of what Sodom and Gomorrah looks like now, right? I want to show you a visual. And there's a man who actually, he's basically there doing a documentary on Sodom and Gomorrah. He's doing a documentary and he's showing like what it looks like. He's showing you basically like what's happening now. So I'm going to pull it up. Hold on. I thought I had it up, but it didn't come up. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it back up. And when I saw this and he began to explain, I thought to myself like, oh my gosh, this kind of just made it even more clear how important it is to obey the voice of God and obey when God tell you to do something. You got to obey. Right? When God tell you to move and do something. I remember when while I'm pulling this video up, I'm going to tell you something. Why I remember when God literally showed me, it was in 1996 and I was living in the state of New Jersey. And in the state of New Jersey, I was sitting at my desk. I had just got a raise, right? I had just got a raise and I had a really good job, working, at this geriatric center with my mother-in-law at the time. And I was excited, got a raise. And here I am, in my personal life, things were like a living hell, right? I was going through a lot of domestic abuse, and I was, trying to keep my family together and I was suffering a lot, right? But like a lot of women who are in toxic relationships, the first thing you think of is, I want to save my family, right? And so God literally spoke to me and was like, I need you. While I was at my desk, he told me to call my girl. He told me to pretty much to go to Florida. So I'm thinking, how am I going to Florida, right? Where am I going to go? He told me to leave. And I'm thinking, where am I going to go? I don't know anybody in Florida. And then I thought, oh, at that time, my really good girlfriend, she's like my sister, was like, she lived in Florida, but I hadn't talked to her in years, right? I hadn't talked to her in years. I didn't have her phone number. I didn't know what to do, right? I didn't know. So I called 411. How many of y'all remember 411, right? And I called 411 and I said to the operator, hey, I need to get in touch with my girlfriend and I don't have her phone number. And I wanted to know if you can locate for her. I don't know where she lives. Now, here's the crazy part. I didn't know where she lived, right? That's pretty broad, right? I didn't know what town she lived in, anything, right? I just gave them her name, right? And thank God for her having such a very unique name. Her name is Nika. If you're watching, hi Nika. And so I said her name is Nika Gustin. Her name was Gustin at the time. So the operator searches and she says, I do have a Nika Gustin here, phone number here, but I can't give you her phone number. But what I could do is I can let you leave a voice message for her to get in touch with her. Now, I thought, Nika had been trying to get me to move to Jacksonville, Florida for many years, since my daughter was born. She was there when my daughter was like maybe a week or so old. She came to visit from Florida and she kept saying, Nadira, you need to come to Florida with me. And I was just like, oh, not now. I just had my daughter. I want to make sure that, I know I'm going to need help with my daughter. So I was like, no, I'm going to stay here with my mom so that I can get help in raising my daughter, because I had never been a mom before. I didn't know, what motherhood was going to be like. So I said, no, maybe I'll come when she gets a little bit older. So here I am, just basically, so here it is, 4 years later. I hadn't talked to her since she left, didn't have a way to get in contact with her. And the operator says, you can leave a message. I found the Nika Gustin. I'm not sure if this is her or not. I can't give you her phone number, but you can leave a message for her. And if you leave a message for her, and if it's her, she'll call you back. Just leave your phone number. So I said, okay. So I left her a message on her, voicemail. And literally, I was shocked. She called me back, right? And you can't do that today. Today, you can't call 411 and be like, hey, give me somebody's number. Let me do a voice. It's not even going to happen. So I knew that was the favor of God and that was orchestrated by God. And she called me back and we began to strategize me coming to Florida to be there to raise my children and live a life there in Jacksonville, Florida. And so it was crazy because when I was leaving, right, God was telling me to leave New Jersey, leave the familiar, leave my family. And here I am a 21-year-old young mother with 2 children, 4 and 7 months. I've never lived outside of the state of New Jersey. I'd never even traveled outside of the state of New Jersey at 21 years old. So for me, it was very foreign for me to go to a state that was 2,000 miles away. What am I going to do? How am I going to get there? But the Lord told me to leave. And when I left, and at that time, there was such an urgency to leave. And I often look back and I think, man, God, I'm glad that I had the strength and the courage to be obedient because of the surrounding events that happened afterward, right? But in that particular scenario, I didn't want to leave because everybody and everything that I knew was in New Jersey. And I didn't want to leave because that was my home. I grew up there. Everybody I knew was there. Where am I going to go? Why am I going to go to a place where I have no family, only know one person? Is this the right thing to do? I was terrified, right? And so I obeyed, I toiled back and forth, but I finally obeyed, right? Went to the travel agent because back then, you go to the travel agency, right? You had to go into the travel agency to book your ticket. So I went and I took my last paycheck that I got from my job and I bought a one-way ticket to Orlando, Florida, because I had no understanding that Orlando was 2 hours away from Jacksonville. I didn't know. I'd never been, like I said, I'd never been outside of the state of New Jersey. So I didn't know Orlando was 2 hours away. So I wound up going there by faith, trusting God, right? Because I knew he was telling me to leave. And it was just one of those things where God literally um, caused me to leave because I was in a very toxic relationship. My life was my life was in danger. And though I had a great job and though I love my job, my personal life was literally, I was on a breaking point of, I had some really terrible things that was happening to me, and I needed to get away. And the only way that I can get away was to leave to another state, right? Because everybody at my family were all involved. They knew, and I felt like I just felt like I didn't want any problems to come to my family, right? Because at that time, I was young and fearful, and I didn't know, right? And so moved to Florida, and God allowed me to be here, be in Jacksonville, Florida. I raised my kids, and and here it is. I went back, right? Went back to that relationship and had two more children, got married, and thought, okay, we both, have a relationship with God. Maybe this will be different. We have a relationship with God. We can, now that we have God as the third cord, and what they say, 1 out of 7 women always go back, right, to a domestic violence relationship. And that's what I began to do. I allowed him to move to Florida with me, right? Allowed him to move to Florida with me. And when he moved to Florida with me, the abuse started all over again, right? But this time it was 10 times worse. And it was, if I thought my life was in danger in Jersey, it went up a couple of notches when I got to Jacksonville, Florida. And there were, and it was really difficult for me because here I am in a new state, in a new city, and right now we're talking about remembering Lot's wife. And it was by the grace of God that he didn't allow me, right? Because of my disobedience, he was taking me out of the situation, but I disobeyed anyway. And me and my disobedience, right? I brought him back into the land that God brought me to get away from that, right? And we were married. We stayed married for 15 years, and it was really horrific, right? It was really bad. I almost lost my life several times, and almost, involving other people into my situation almost cost their life too. And so this particular topic really hit home for me, because when God, I was never the type of person that believes in leaving. If you're married, you stay together and you stay into the end. And I toiled with this thing. I prayed, and God, I sat at the pier and I prayed for hours. God, give me instructions, give me this, help me to decide which way to go. Help me to decide. And I did not, and I waited, right, until the Lord showed me a sign. And he literally, I don't care what anybody say, he literally helped me deal with the anxiety of feeling like I was disappointing him when it comes to leaving this relationship, this marriage, because I felt like, oh my God, if I do that, I would be dishonoring God, right? Because I was concerned about what God thought in the situation. And God gave me specific instructions, as he did Lot, gave me specific instructions on what to do. And I did those things. And I walked out of that marriage alive, in my right mind, and walked out with my children. And I thank God for that. And it's amazing how, even though now it's been years later, it's been some years later, and though we no longer talk, we don't interact with each other, but, our children have a relationship with their dad, which I'm really grateful for. And I'm praying that, that he is a better person now. I'm praying that that's the case. And I continue to pray for him, that God will, because we started both in the Lord. We both started in the Lord. And my prayer went from, and it was just like, I never had that prayer of God, get him. It was always, Lord, open his eyes, open his eyes. So my prayer still continues these days, that God will open his eyes of understanding, that he will begin to cultivate a relationship with God, so he doesn't repeat the same steps in his present marriage. And so I say all that to say that when God tells you to do something, it is because he already foresees what's ahead of you. And when you don't obey God and you begin to do things in your own strength, then what will happen is you run the possibility of the same thing that Lot's wife did. Now, we ought to be glad in this day and time for the grace of God. You know, we are under the dispensation of grace, which means that he ain't killing us straight to the head like they did back then and then. He has given us the ability to repent and get things right. So if you are in a position and you are doing things that are causing things in your life to disobey, or you're doing things and operating in activities and things that are causing you to be in disobedience against God, that's only going to last for a moment, because they were eating and drinking. That's why I see Luke 17, he said, just like it was in the days of Noah, right? And just like it was in the days of Lot, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into wine. They were drinking, partying, having fun, going cruising, doing everything and living their lives any kind of way without a conscious awareness that God is allowing his grace to give them time to come back to him. So you can live your life in such a way you could feel like, I'm living it up. I'm good. I got peace. I got money. I got a house. I got a car. Everything is good. Everything working out good for me. And if you are not living in alignment with the will of God for your life, you are not really at true peace. Because the people it says that they were laughing and marrying, giving into marrying, wine, they were partying, they were having a ball, because to them, they felt like, we're good. We are living our best life until that day happened. And so you don't want to live your life in such a way that you are living your life recklessly, and God is adhering to, and God is been speaking to you and been giving you warnings and sending people to you and putting people on a platform like me and other people to warn you and to instruct you and to lead you into Christ and to tell you to come back. You know, you went too far. Come back, right? And when we don't take heed to the warnings that God sends, right? We don't take heed, we don't take warning, then what happens is one day, right? And that one day is different for everybody. Right? That one day may not be all the same for all of us. It might be, it said when the Son of Man is revealed, well, he might be revealed to you in one particular day, and you could be somewhere and you can lose your life because of your unwillingness to surrender to his will for your life. He's going to win either way, right? He's going to win. And I was like, and I began to think about, what the tragedy and stuff that I went through as a result of me going back. And so if God has delivered you from a toxic relationship and he's opened up a door for you to start fresh, don't go back. Don't run the risk of your life and your children's life because of somebody who can't control their emotions, who can't control their hands, right? Who has opened themselves up for the enemy, right, to come and destroy them and you and your children. It is so imperative that if you are in a domestic violence relationship, or you're in a toxic relationship and there's verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, there's mental abuse, you're not married, and even if you are, you need help. And you need to reach out. And I know I was in the middle of doing something. I'm going to put this phone number for the domestic violence hotline for those of you that need it, but let somebody know. Don't try to handle it on your own. That's what I did. I tried to do it on my own because, one, my pride, I didn't want nobody to know what I was going through. I didn't want nobody looking at me a certain way. I didn't want nobody feeling, it was all pride, right? Because I felt like I didn't want people to look at me a certain way. But when you are in need of help, let me tell you something. You don't have time to worry about your pride. You got to put your pride away, especially if you have children. Right? If you have children that are involved in a domestic violence relationship, you've got to let somebody know. You have to find a support system, right? And it's something, because I'm really, I started a community, right? And it's called the P31 Wisdom Academy. And it's a Facebook group here on Facebook, right? P31 Wisdom Academy. And this is a community that I built I used to have what was called a wisdom clinic. And I had over almost 400 people in that clinic. And it was a Facebook group where, women would get together, and I would encourage them, and speak life and give them, wisdom in areas of their life and business. And somehow somebody hacked into my Facebook account and literally deleted my actual Facebook page and all of my memories and all of my videos that I specifically uploaded to Facebook so that I can keep it and I can always go back and reference it for the years to come. So I lost all of that, and I have been fighting with Facebook to get those back. And yeah, I was hacked. So I had to start a new Facebook account. So for some of you that are watching and not sure if that's me that sent a friend request, yeah, that was me. I sent you a friend request. For those that I did, as many as I can remember, for the most part, most people people that I've talked to and they've kind of seen me live kind of realize, oh, okay, this is really her. So if I've sent you a Facebook request from this account, it is me. It's me. It's legitimate. So because I lost all of that information, but it's crazy because I can still post in that group, but I can't even see any comments or anything like that in the group because it was a closed private group. So I can't even see anything in that group. So for those of you that are in the Wisdom Clinic that can, and luckily I got to the business account just in time because they would have hacked my Becoming a Woman of Proverbs page also. So I thank God it didn't go that far. But I say all that to say is, join, if you know somebody that, that can benefit from the P31 Wisdom Academy, man, I urge you to go to go to my website, www.coachingwithnadira.com and sign up, and join my Facebook group, join my group so that I can show you, because there's some things that I want to be able to show you and tell you and share with you that I can't really share out publicly, right? And I want to be able to provide a safe place for you to be able to share what's on your heart. I want to be able to provide a safe place for me to share some of the things that I did, some of the strategies that I used, right? And I don't want everybody to hear those strategies, because if you are in that particular situation, you do have to be careful because you don't know who's listening. Right? You don't know who's on your Facebook page, who's listening, and you'd be surprised at some of the people who you think are strong and could be going through something and you don't even know it, right? They could be, let me tell you something. One thing I learned is that people who are in domestic violence relationship, they look normal, right? They look like they're dressed well, right? They dressed well. They don't look like they have any issues. They go to work. They have the biggest smiles on their face, right? They have the biggest smiles on their face, and we don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. So I want to extend you the opportunity to go to coachingwithnadira.com and sign up for my Wisdom Academy so that I can share with you some wisdom on how to deal with wisdom in different areas of your life, right? But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we're going to continue talking about remembering Lot's wife. So make sure you call up your girlfriends and tell them Sisterhood Check-In is on the air so that we can be able to, so that they can hear some of the stuff that we are discussing too. And I got some special that I want to share with you guys, but we'll be right back after this.
Help me to trust him again with my heart and not be scared, looking over my shoulder when it comes to his actions because I felt betrayed by him. Help me to trust his good intentions towards me.
May not be physically with you.
They're in your church.
But I am sitting next to you.
Different face.
Different name. Same story, though, that goes like this.
I've done some terrible things in my life,
Some of them I chose to do.
and I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series.
It's been a series of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really,
Really.
Really need some help.
Hi, I'm Nadira, author, life and business coach, and founder of the Sisterhood Check-In podcast. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. Book a call with me at bit.ly/coaching with Nadira. I look forward to helping you get to the other side of victory. Have a wonderful day.
You know, there's seasons in that our gifts operate and flow in. There's seasons. And if you miss your season or your moment, your gift may not be no longer useful. Because if he called a generation to ask a question or to need something in a specific season, and he birthed you for that season, you're useless if you don't operate in your season.
Listen, Nadira, listen. You're doing it again. You're doing it again. You do it.
All right, y'all, it's about that time now. She's a woman of God, she's a woman of grace, she's a woman of the marketplace. She's a woman of God, she's a woman of grace, she's a woman of the marketplace. She's a All right, and I am back. Thank you so much for those that have joined me for the second half and final part of Sisterhood Check-In. Look, listen, guys, I want to share something. Tomorrow I am doing a masterclass because one of the things I realize is that when you're dealing with in situations like domestic violence situations, or you're dealing in a situation where it's toxic and you have to take care of yourself and you may not have a vehicle and you can't get out to do what you need to do, right? Because you have to depend on somebody to get you to and from a particular place. Well, let me tell you, I am doing a masterclass tomorrow, right? And every Saturday I will be doing a masterclass to help you build up skill sets, because there are some women that can't leave these toxic relationships because they don't have any skill set. right? They don't have skill sets in order to generate income so that they can get out. So most of the time they're stuck in these relationships because they don't have a vehicle, they don't have any income coming in, and they have to take care of their children. So every Saturday for at 7 p.m., right? I am going to, and it's only going to be in the Digital Preneur Academy group that I have here on Facebook, right? All the classes that I'm going to teach is going to be specifically to set you up with specific skills that you can offer as a service to other businesses, right? They're the skill sets that I've acquired over the past couple of years. I've been using to generate income to take care of myself and my family. It's amazing. And so I definitely want to be able to help you to develop skill sets, right? While you're home, right? To be able to learn different skills so that you can generate income from home, right? And for those that, not just only for the women that are dealing with domestic violence, if you want to be a part, male or female, if you want to be a part of the Digital Preneur Academy, the P31 Digital Preneur Academy, you can go to my website at www.coachingwithnadira.com, or you can go to coachingwithnadira.com and you can sign up there. Go to code and I'll put it up here. I thought I had it up here. Let me go ahead and put it up here. I thought I had already put it up here. I guess I didn't, right? So we're going to put sign up here. I tell you, I thought I had it up here. Sometimes you think you did some stuff and you'd be like, yeah, I know I did it. But I didn't. So here, I'm going to put it right here. So for those of you that want to know, we are in an industry now where this is the time to learn how to make money online. And if you are a single mom, or if you are somebody that is stuck in a toxic relationship and you can't, and this is your opportunity. Every week, I'm going to be teaching a new skill set that you can offer to businesses and services. I'm going to teach you how to, and I have a list of agenda. If you go on my page, on both the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs page and the Nadira Lewis page, you will see the different titles and things I'm going to be talking about on how you can do what I do and other things that I do to be able to generate income. Because believe it or not, businesses are putting their money into content creation. They are putting their money into, which is why when you look at this whole scenario with these actresses and actors and everything that's happening in Hollywood, right? These businesses know, right, that there are some talent out here. There's some people out here, they have a lot of followers and they got some real talent. And so they are smart enough to know and to evolve and say, we're going to shift our focus on people that have this large following. And even if you don't have a large following, if you have influence and you want to be able to, and you can be able to sell these services and products, right, to be able to help generate income for you and your family. So make sure you go to www.coachingwithnadira.com and sign up. Everything is there on the website. You can sign up for the P31 Wisdom Academy. You can also sign up for the P31 Digital Preneur Academy, which is $31 a month. And for $31 a month, you get a new class every week. So instead of you having to pay for a course, some of these courses that, I know, because I used to be one of them that used to charge an enormous amount of money for courses, and and the value is there to charge that much, right? But I want to be able to help you because I know it's getting close to the end of the year, and some of you might be feeling anxious because you may be trying to take care of certain things. I'm going to teach you everything. We're going to have everything from how to create mobile apps, which is the class that we're going to be talking about this Saturday. I'm going to teach you how to trade. Right. I'm going to have my son come in, Christian Bryant, who is a beast in this. Right. And he does this full time. I'm going to teach you how to invest in trading. Right. I'm going to teach you what platforms to use. If you have as little as $10, you got to start somewhere. Right. I'm going to teach you the skill sets to be able to generate income so that you don't have to worry, and not only am I going to teach it, as long as you're in that group, you're going to have my assistance. I'll be there to assist you, right? And if you need one-on-one assistance, you can always sign up for one-on-one coaching with me, and I can help you with that. But I'm telling you, there's going to be tremendous value in the P31 Digital Preneur Academy. You're going to learn so much. You're going to learn how to generate leads. You're going to learn how to set up your lead generation, because some people, you have different businesses and services, but you don't know how to set up your leads. How do I even set up a lead campaign? I don't even know what to do, where to go. I'm going to show you step by step on how to set up your lead generations. I'm going to show you step by step on how to build different skills so that when you leave, you'll be equipped to do what you need to do. So make sure you go right here. The link is at the bottom, www.coachingwithnadira.com. Everything is there. Sign up also for my newsletter. I also have a weekly newsletter that I will be, you can stay in the loop with me. I can tell you for everything that I got coming up, you'll be able to know if you are a part of my newsletter. That's where all my blogs are going to be going. That's where everything is. So if you want, in daily, weekly encouragement, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. There's one more thing I wanted to share with you too before I left, is for the month of October only. For the month of October only, right? I'm going to be giving a free a digital ebook for those that may be dealing with domestic violence, or may have a family member that may be dealing with domestic violence for this month only. You can go to the www.coachingwithnadira.com. It is the very first thing. You can download the free digital ebook and devotional. The ebook and it's a devotional and journal where you can record your thoughts. Let me tell you, when I was in a situation, I needed somewhere to release, right, the frustration and the anxiety that I was feeling, and journaling was very important to me, right? This digital journal, you can download it right to your phone and use it right from your tablet, your laptop, your phone. You can use it to work on any device, and it's free for the month of October. So if that's my gift to you. That's my way of supporting you in your journey of trying to find a strategy on how to get out of these domestic violence situations. So it is for this month only. You can go to www.coachingwithnadira.com. And let me see. And so the holidays are approaching, right? And one of the other things I'm going to be teaching you how to do is how to set up e-commerce store. I've been doing e-commerce for on and off for so many years. And I promise you, I could just throw my e-commerce store up and literally I always make money. Like I could make money. Like I could just throw it up. And I usually would just put it up seasonal, like right around this time. And then I would just take it down. But I decided that this time I'm going to keep it up, because with the clothing line that I started, the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs, it is a movement. And I always say, don't just say it, but wear it. So this is something I have, I'm trying to see. Okay, I have it right here. Hold on. So I carry all my stuff in it. So these are where you have like bags, dresses, and all kinds of things. So this is one of the bags that I could close it up because I got my personal stuff and I need to see my personal stuff. So this is one of the bags that I have. It's really affordable. It's only $29.99 and it's pretty thick. If you can see the side of it, it's lightweight. You can carry it as a backpack. It has Becoming a Woman on the thing, and on the back it has Becoming a Woman. In the bottom it says Becoming a Woman. You can put your water bottle. It also says Becoming a Woman. So this is these bags are available at thecoachingwithnadira.com. You can click on the link to Strength and Dignity, to the Strength and Dignity website, where it has all things concerning Becoming a Woman of Proverbs, from bags to dresses, sneakers. Yes, we have a lot of things. So there's so much on my website. I urge you to go and check it out, and see, go through some of the links and see, and see some of the things that I have put together for you. But again, make sure you sign up for the P31 Digital Preneur Academy so that you can learn the skills that you need and generate income for you and your family, so you don't have to feel like you're stuck. And if you need finances, this is your way to do it, right? This is your way to be able to do it. If you're suffering with abuse in any way, shape, or form, make sure you join the P31 Digital Preneur. And for some of you that want to sponsor some of these women, let me know. Let's sponsor some of these women. Let's get them educated. Let's give them a skill set, because, when you have a skill set, then you have something that you can use to serve other businesses and other people. In exchange for the value that you give to them, they will exchange their money for the value that you exchange in vice versa. So, but that's all I have for today. I really hope you enjoy. Oh, but before I do it, we can't go yet. I wanted to show you back to the last few minutes. It's only like 10 minutes. I'm going to show you basically with this documentary, and I want to show you exactly what Sodom and Gomorrah look like. I want you to know what it looks like today. So hold on, let me go ahead and share this with you so that you can see this. One moment. Alrighty. So here we're going to watch this real quick, and we're going to talk about what it's like now. This is a young man who's actually in Sodom.
Fire and sulfur rain down from heaven and destroy them all. It will be just like this on the day the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, no one who is on the housetop with possessions inside should go down to get them. Likewise, no one in the field should go back for anything. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever tries to keep their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life will preserve it. I tell you, on that night, 2 people will be in one bed. One will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding grain together. One will be taken and the other left. Where, Lord? They asked. He replied, where there is a dead body, there the vultures will gather. As Abraham was pleading for the cities of the plain, God said he will not destroy them if there was 10 righteous souls within the cities. However, only Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters were found righteous. He condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to destruction, reducing them to ashes as an example of what is coming on the ungodly. Jesus said, as it was in the days of Lot, so will it be when the Son of Man is revealed. Will you escape the coming judgment?
Abraham saw this place and saw it burn like a furnace.
Unfortunately, even with such evidence before their eyes, some will prefer to ignore or will simply reject this reality of God's judgment. Jesus said, if anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And if anyone has eyes to see, let him see. Some pressing questions still remain. Why is this area not thoroughly investigated? Or why is this location not a marked tourist site? Although these questions may never be answered, I believe this vital information needs to be shared to the world. I want to end this documentary by reminding you what Jesus had said in John chapter 3. Unless you are born again out of water and spirit, unless you repent of your sins, which means to turn away, to ask God to forgive you. You cannot enter the kingdom of God. These are not my words, but these are the words of Jesus. First, you must repent. You must turn away from your sins. You must ask God forgiveness and not go back to these sins ever again. And then you are washed in the waters in baptism. If you decide to let go of these sins, to surrender to God and to be washed, God will forgive all your sins. Not because you earn it, but because of His mercy, because of His love. And this is why Jesus is totally different than any other religion. No religion can save us. We cannot earn anything from God. Only one man came on earth. God Himself came in the flesh to forgive us, to take on Himself the sins of the world. If we are ready to humble ourselves and to ask God to forgive us, this is a promise that He will do. He will give us eternal life.
Alrighty. So here we were discussing. Here was a brief documentary to show you basically what Sodom and Gomorrah look like today. And this is the example. This is what it looks like today. So just imagine, right now, it's not like a place where they talk about it or even have it as a tourist site, because, I'm sure there's probably, some reasons probably why, we can assume all kinds of things. I got a piece of hair like floating around in my hair, floating around in my eye, but, we can assume all kinds of things, reasons of why, right? It's not a tourist site, but needless to say, either or, let this be a reminder that if God tells you to do something, if God gives you instruction on how to govern your life or how to live, or if He tells you to do a particular thing, let's make this a practice based on what happened to Lot's wife, right? Let's use her as an example of why it's important to obey the voice of God. So if God tells you to do something, let's just do it, right? Let's do it so that we won't have our life turned upside down as a result of overlooking or thinking that whatever God told us is not that important. Let's look at it. Let's take what God says to us serious, right? Because I don't care how much fun we think we're having, right? If your life is not in alignment with the will of God for your life, it's not going to mean anything. It's not going to mean anything, right? It's not going to mean anything on that day when you're having to stand before God and have to give an account for your life, right? So that's all I have for you today. Remember, make sure you sign up for the Masterclass tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the P31 Digital Preneur Academy, and I'll see you tomorrow at Saturday. Have an amazing week. Until next time. Bye-bye.
May not be physically with you.
They're in your church.
But I am sitting next to you.
Different face.
Different name.
Same story, though, that goes like this.
I've done some terrible things in my life.
Some of them I chose to do.
And I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series
of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really
need some help.
Hi, I'm Nadira, author, life and business coach, and founder of the Sisterhood Check-In podcast. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. Book a call with me at bit.ly/coaching with Nadira. I look forward to helping you get to the other side of victory. Have a wonderful day.